The Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, my colleague from my next door constituency here, Bende, is entitled to his aspirations, whether it be to go back to the House of Representatives or otherwise minded, including to run for governor. If he so desires to run for governor, that's his fundamental right as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Where we differ is in the choice of the position. I do not believe that Dr. Alex Otti, that there's any vacancy in Abia State. Alex Otti has a covenant with the people of Abia, and they are seeing the good works that he has done. Many people don't need to describe it; they see it, they feel it. It's impactful. So I believe that Alex Otti is entitled to renewal of his tenure for the good works that he has done, and my support fully, my support for his administration and his re-election as epitomized last Friday when the people of Ikwuano, Umuahia North and Umuahia South gave him a grand reception. That's our statement to say we like what you're doing, and we will support what you're doing going forward. Abia is blessed by Dr. Alex Otti at this point. But if somebody else feels, that they can come and present themselves as an alternative to Otti, well, they're entitled to that. My only thing is that, well, like you said, he said the state is not being run well, that's why he's coming. Anybody that wants to make efforts to sleep with your wife will find one thing, that they will also tell your wife that you're not doing, despite everything you're doing for your wife. So those things, nobody's going to run for governor or run for my position as a federal house and say, well, I'm doing exceptionally well. They will always find one thing that they will cling on to say, well, he's not doing well. So we'll work on him, whatever he decides to make a pronouncement on it, we'll work on him and let the Abia people during the elections make their own selections. Nobody is God, but at the end of the day, God will give power to whom He deserves. He desires to give power. Then the second question about Nnamdi Kanu: if majority of the people who have sat on my seat or other seats, either in the National Assembly or in the public domain, have done 10% of what I've done for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I think the narrative would have been a lot more easier now. But because most of them went there and just feigned ignorance as to the plight of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and not just Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, many others in that gap, especially in the administration of criminal justice, they just ignored it and allowed him to wallow. Even the Yorubas, the Yorubas themselves, when the issue of Sunday Igboho came up, the Yorubas, including the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, were among the Yorubas, including President Obasanjo, that went to President Buhari to file their supplications, and President Buhari looked at them and freed Sunday Igboho. And he's now getting all manner of chieftaincy titles all over the Yoruba land. Going about, I heard he's declared for APC too, so the question being, why is Nnamdi Kanu still in detention? Why is nobody talking about it? It was one campaign promise that I made, that if elected to go into the House of Representatives, that I will have a platform to talk about the issues concerning Nnamdi Kanu, the issues concerning the plight of Ndigbo, like I said, in the administration of criminal justice, where it appears that we have two sets of rules in Nigeria, one for Ndigbo and the other one for every other Nigerian. So Nnamdi Kanu is my constituent, and it is my primary responsibility, where nobody else will speak for him, for me to speak for him, whether he's right or wrong. It's for me to advocate for him, and I've done that sincerely from the depth of my heart. One, as somebody who grew up in Umuahia, I went to the same primary school with him, at Labrador Avenue Primary School, where Government House is currently situated now. I went to Government College with him. My father was a family physician. If I show you the picture of my mother's wedding now, I'm saying before you people go, find that picture. the 5 bridesmaids of my mother. Nnamdi Kalu's mother was one of my mother's bridesmaids. Is the Umuahia, the Grube of Ibeku, the wife, was one of the bridesmaids. Navy, Air Force Commander Emeruwa, that was a former governor of Imo State. The wife was my mom's chief bridesmaid. So I have family ties with Nnamdi. That the best I can do for Nnamdi and the best I can do for my constituents, whether you be Nnamdi or somebody else otherwise, is to speak up. And I've spoken up, and I'm still speaking, and I'm hoping, and bear in mind also that that I have the sole mandate of Nnamdi Kalu to negotiate his release. So why did he give it to me if he knows that I wasn't going to speak up for him? It's because he also has confidence in me, in my ability to at least stand the truth. I know what I've lost as a member of the House of Representatives, speaking up for Nnamdi Kalu and other issues, constitutional issues, the positions that I've taken, that, like I said earlier, the borders of constitutionality, justice and equity. I know what I'm losing now because they have marked me as, okay, he's always on this side. He's always on this side. But I don't regret it for any moment. I don't regret it for any moment that if I don't speak for him, who else will speak for him? Everybody has kept quiet now. So I've encouraged a whole lot of people, and that's why I like what my governor has done, to step in as well, to use the institution of the governor, the governor's forum, to see whether he can convince the other governors, especially of the Southeast extraction, to make this a concern, an urgent concern, that the president can look at and say, okay, that a political solution can be found. But till then, I'm still pushing as its representative. Will not go back on it. And even if I'm not in the Federal House of Representatives, I guess I will continue to speak on this issue till we bring it back. I even spoke on it when I was PG of Omo. When I was PG of Omo, I was invited to the Senate by the then Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, to talk about insecurity in the Southeast. I was the first person that injected the issue of Nnamdi Kalu in the records of the Senate.